Hey guys, Ronnie here. This week's episode is brought to you by NelsieSpencer.com. Everything Nelsie Spencer and Losing It is on NelsieSpencer.com. There you can find links to Nelsie's book, movie, and classes. Take Nelsie's writing classes or get one-on-one coaching and sharpen your writing skills. Take classes like screenwriting class and novel writing first draft. If you'd like to support the show, grab a couple things at the Losing It merch store where we have mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, hats like this one, the one I'm wearing, and much more. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out links to NelsieSpencer.com and other things such as the links to our equipment we use and all our social handles in the description down below. And if you want to contact us, tell us you love us, hate us, want to tell us you're losing a story and possibly have Nelsie read it on the show, email us at losingitcontact@gmail.com.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it.
Okay.
You
Wait, my
got a story we don't care.
I have my computer on Tupperware. It's the right height.
Come
Upside down. Yes, I'm a professional. Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome to Losing It with Nelsie Spencer. The podcast where people come on and tell a story that has a losing it theme. Where guests come on. I'm here with Ronnie Whaley, my producing partner and producer. Clean shaven, Ronnie Whaley. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
It looks like I work with a, I don't know, 7th grader. You look so young.
It's so weird. It's like my Asian genes. So like when I have the beard, I'm a lot older, and then when I shave, I have this like baby face.
Yeah, you're a very cute little Asian child.
Yeah, cute little Asian child.
Which. So hi, my dear. How the heck are you?
I'm good. You know, I have good news to report. The weather is amazing. So, yeah, it's been great. I realized I talk crap about the weather only because it was crap, but now it's really great. For like a week, it's been amazing.
Just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just like perfection, like 70 degrees, no humidity, sun shining.
Like a week or 2 weeks before, I had to put a humidifier in my room because of how humid it was. Now I don't need it. Dehumidifier. Yeah.
It was humid, but not quite humid enough. And Ronnie's from the Philippines, so he's like, I'm just going to turn that humidity up.
Yeah, exactly. I actually have a humidifier, but that was during the winter.
Yeah,
everything needs to be perfect.
You're just a delicate flower.
I'm so delicate, yeah. I'm like a feather. You know?
You're like a precious orchid. So yeah, the weather's been so great. The weather's so great. My husband and I went to the beach yesterday in the middle of the day.
Yeah, you said you were leaving or you were gone.
Yeah, we went to the beach.
Oh,
we went to the beach.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday. The beach is 10 minutes away from where we are.
That's great.
So
That's
we
fantastic.
I kept thinking that I was going to be arrested. You know, I kept thinking that someone was going to come up, ma'am, excuse me, you're going to have to come with me. It's a Wednesday. You're at the beach. What the fuck?
Yeah. And also, the United States is open. It's all open now. New York opened up. California.
It's all open.
Yeah. And that's the whole United States. That's all of United States right there.
A whole new world. Don't make me sing Disney songs. You know I will. So what else? What else? You got beautiful weather. I've got beautiful. Let me tell you, I sat on my back deck because I do a lot of, when I work with clients, I'm often on the phone, or even if I'm on Zoom, I sit on my back deck and work outside. I have a little awning. It's fantastic.
Nice.
I mean, I feel so lucky. I feel a little guilty mentioning it. You know what I mean? Like,
why?
I don't know that someone's going to call me a privileged bitch. You know,
I
have a lot of credit card debt. Don't envy me.
Oh, so
yes. Tell me.
As you may know, the Friends reunion premiered on HBO Max. I watched it recently. And so if you are a fan of Friends, it's fantastic.
I'm a fan. I'm such a fan.
The only things I do not like about that, which was well, it was pretty obvious, is like the unnecessary celebrity appearances that had like nothing to do with the show. Those were kind of like,
who'd they have?
They would just like interview like celebrities in between like sections of the special, just saying what their favorite part of the like what favorite episode or moment, and it's just kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, this is I don't really care.
I mean, it would be one thing if they interviewed like Reese Witherspoon or Brad Pitt or Christina Applegate, who've all been on the show.
Exactly.
Then fine.
So Reese Witherspoon and was
Paul
there,
Rudd.
which made sense. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, but then they had like David Beckham. I'm like, what are you doing here, man? Leave.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I love David Beckham. You know, clothes, no clothes. I'm always happy to see David Beckham. But what are you doing on a Friends episode? Friends reunion?
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. But I mean, that wasn't cool. But then the other stuff was really cool. Like and also there was this whole thing about Matthew Perry. Don't know what's going on there. I know, like,
talk to me.
Most recently, he's been like, I don't know if any of this is true, but, you know, in the media, like...
Allegedly.
Well, I don't even know if it's alleged, but it seemed... The narrative in the media before this special came out is that he was having a hard time, and he was, like, in a hotel in New York during the pandemic, just, like, getting fat and smoking cigarettes and drinking and stuff, and, like, looking pretty bad. Oh. I don't know if any of that's true, right? And then during the special... He was there. I mean, obviously they've all aged, so that's one thing. So you can't just.
Well, I have to say, yes. Look, they all aged. They did, and it's always shocking because we have held them in this little time capsule in our mind.
They were like in their late 20s.
You know, when you exactly, you look at the Friends rerun, even if it's the last episode or the last season, there's still these young, fresh people. Yeah. And so, I did see one little snippet of it, and I thought. Matthew Perry's not looking that good.
Yeah, I mean,
I did think that.
It's like, so they ended the season when they were all like 35, right? And now they're all like 52 to 57. So I mean, let's get.
It's a whole different kettle. Yeah. I almost said a whole different kettle of peas. It's a whole different thing. It's different. Like, it's shockingly, I do not look the same now as I did in my 40s. Shocking. Yeah,
let alone like in your 30s, you know, and then in your 20s. Like, it's just age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We all age. Yeah. We all age.
But there was something interesting that everyone caught during the special was that Matthew Perry had a weird slur. I mean, a slur, he had a lisp or a slur. He was slurring all of his words. And I was looking up, like, what's going on here? Like, maybe there was something wrong, or like, there was rumors that he
just had dental surgery.
Well, so there was rumors, and this is probably just rumors, that he had suffered a stroke, and like he was coming off of that, but no one knows if that's true. The other thing was, in a press release afterwards, his management said that right before they shot it, he had emergency dental surgery. And that's what was going on, right?
So there you go. I just hope that's it.
Yeah, I know. I really hope so too. But there was some footage from a most recent interview where he also had a tad bit of the slur. And so people are like, I don't know what's going on. And, you know, he's had history of like substance abuse and stuff. But I mean, I really...
And I just...
You know...
I love him. I love them all. I love them all. You know, some episodes I'm like, oh my God, Joey, Matt LeBlanc, he's my favorite. Some episodes I'm like, oh my God, there's nobody better than Phoebe, you know, but I love them all. They're all such good actors. They had such great chemistry. It was so well written, so wonderfully directed.
It was done so well.
The last episode, I let my kids stay up and we all watched it as a family, the last episode of Friends. And as a matter of fact, when my daughter was applying to graduate school to go for TV production or TV producing, she talked about that moment when she's like, my mom we all stayed up to watch Friends, and I had this sense that I was a part of something that was much bigger than us, and that people all over the country were watching this last episode. I mean, it was just this great essay that she wrote about what, not just Friends, but what TV meant to her and how it creates connection and all that.
It's kind of sad.
So yeah,
not a lot of that happens anymore because it's all on demand.
It's all on demand. Yeah. So there's no like, oh, let's watch Friday Night Lights on Friday night, or let's watch, Friends on Thursday.
Like
that doesn't happen anymore. The Simpsons.
Remember when it was like a big thing? Like, even talk shows.
Yeah. I'm listening to
talk shows are going up.
Right. Why would you stay up to watch the talk show? You'll just, check out the highlights on YouTube the next day or whatever, right? My kids and I'm listening to the Scrubs rewatch podcast with Zach and Donald, which is called Fake Doctors, Real Friends. And, I like to support the smaller podcasts like that one. And poor Conan, who we know, he's struggling.
He lost the show, so.
And, sadly. We like to call him the other redhead because I'm the first redhead. But anyway, my kids and I watched all the Scrubs episodes, and you had to watch it on Thursday night or whatever night it was on. So I do worry about Matthew Perry.
I know it's
right.
Hope he's doing all right.
Matthew, we're sending you love. We're sending you love and light and support.
Sending our prayers.
Oh my goodness! Yes, sending our prayers
all around. Yeah.
So those are the big highlights of.
You got to watch it.
Of the week. I can't wait. I'm supposed to watch it with watch it over the phone with my best friend with Patience. So hopefully I'll do that. Yeah. I gotta watch it. I love them.
I cried. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I cried.
Did you? Of course you did.
Yeah.
Of course you did. I know I'll cry. I'll know I cry. I will. I'm a big weeper. Have you watched Hacks? I've told you about Hacks, right?
Hacks?
No.
Oh.
HBO. Jean Smart.
You told me about this. The one with the
Jean
Filipino
Smart
people
plays.
in it?
Yeah, she. No, that's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which I'm watching on Netflix and which is phenomenal. My God, there's so many Filipinos, Ronnie. I feel like what's happened? Suddenly I'm surrounded by Filipinos, which is lovely, and I'm not complaining. But I'm not eating any blood
today
cubes.
is
I'll
Filipino.
just say that right up front. I know.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird. It's like I see them everywhere now. But what was I going to say? Oh, Jean Smart is in this show called Hacks, where she plays a Joan Rivers type of comedian.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
So, and it's on HBO, and everybody's talking about it. If you haven't watched it, guys, please do. I watched I sobbed during the season finale. But I might have just been having a bad day. But no, it's really good. Really good acting, really good writing, really smart, and really funny. Really funny. So we have a Filipino guest today, another interesting person that Ronnie's found, and his name's Jedrocks, and he's got a blog, he's got a clothing line, he lives in Canada, but he's Filipino. We're gonna have to do a deep dive on that because he
has a crazy story.
Yeah, he does. Ooh, I can't wait. So guys, check it out.
Here we go again.
So, hi guys, here we go again. Second time's the charm. I'm going to reintroduce, you guys missed it because we had a little technical snafu. Yet another wonderful guest that Ronnie's found for me. He's an entrepreneur. He has a blog, a pretty inspirational blog. I read a little bit of it, and he has a clothing line. So somehow he's found time for us. Oh, and he also DJs. Somehow he's found time for us. So I'm so happy to have Jedrocks. Hey, Jedrocks.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me here. I just love this opportunity to talk about stories because storytelling is like a passion that I have.
I'm so glad. They're the best. I love storytelling, right?
Yes, it's just so inspirational. You catch the emotions of the viewers, and it's like once you hit that emotion, it feels so good. It just feels so awesome.
Yeah. And even and whether the emotion is whether it makes you cry or it makes you laugh, it's creating that connection that is so wonderful. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So are you in Canada now?
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver, BC. Well, it's a municipality of Vancouver called Burnaby, BC. Actually in our DJ school that I currently co-own called Table Tutors DJ Training Academy.
Okay, you've got to stop, Jedrocks. Come on. What? You co-own a DJ academy?
Yes, here in Vancouver, BC.
That's fantastic. Tell me the name of it again.
Table Tutors DJ Training Academy. And if you're ever curious, it's tabletutors.com. And what we do is that, I've always been a passion for music. And one other thing is that my other partners who are DJs, we just got together and we wanted to teach people how to play music, not just on guitar, piano, whatever. It's a new digital age. And we consider, we consider DJing the new piano lesson, if you know what I mean.
Wow. Interesting. I was talking to, I heard somebody, oh God, it wasn't Billie Eilish, but it was somebody in that, it was Lord. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. The singer from
I
England.
heard her being interviewed by Mark Maron and he was like, so who were the musicians on your record? And she's like, there's no musicians. It's all like, she was basically saying that everything was digital, like almost everything that she did. And he was very disappointed because he's of a certain age. He's like, but it's a whole new world.
Exactly.
It's a whole new world. Not that playing the piano isn't great or playing the guitar isn't great, but the way you can make music and the way you can make different kinds of music just is changing all the time. Yeah,
we have to, it's like I said, we have to pivot with the times. Like I myself, I do know how to play piano and a little bit of guitar, kind of self-taught. But the learning curve of learning like a classical instrument definitely is longer. But just learning in this new digital age, it's just, you got that hack, you got that shortcut. And there is that stigma where DJs aren't real musicians. I beg to differ. Whatever comes out of the speakers and you make people move, that's a musician.
Wow. I had never looked at it that way. Do you have, as a DJ, I guess part of what you have to do is play for your audience, right? Because, but do you, what are your favorite genres musically, or do you have favorite ones?
Yeah, my most favorite is the golden era 90s hip hop, which I grew up with. It's really in me. And even though like I am in my 40s, I can't let hip hop go. It's just instilled in me growing up.
I am in my 60s and I grew up on 70s R&B and funk and 80s. So it's like when I work out, my playlist is like Jackson 5, Janet Jackson, Prince, Aretha Franklin.
Legends.
So it's like, why would we let that go?
Right?
Why would we let go of fantastic music?
Exactly.
And especially that stuff that you grew up on, right? Because that goes into your heart in a certain place.
Yeah, like the whole gangster rap era. I'm not a gangster, but I just love that, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, all that West Coast funk. Yeah, because they took the old funk and they, they did, they revamped it and made it to their own sound.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do love the Gap Band. I do love Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, those are really awesome bands.
The best. So good. And those, like you said, they take like the, I don't know, the bass line or the funk beat or whatever, and the 90s, and then the 90s hip hop, repurposed it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great. So are you a Canadian native? Were you born in Canada?
Yeah, I was born in a province called Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta. If you know anything about hockey, that's where Wayne Gretzky first started his career as the Edmonton Oilers. And my parents immigrated from the Philippines. They actually met here in Canada, and we had family here in Vancouver. And I guess Vancouver is like the U.S. Hawaii, where it's like it barely snows. Warmer than the other provinces.
Oh, really?
And my parents are like, let's get out of here and move to Vancouver. And I've been Vancouver ever since. So
yeah. So for Canada, it's warm.
Yeah, for the most part, like Vancouver is the warmest city. It's cool summers, warm winters. It's just that nice fluctuation of weather.
Yeah.
And my parents being island folks from like the tropic islands, they just couldn't stand the snow anymore. And they ended up.
Hey, I'm from Southern California, and I've been here for. God, I love SoCal, but I've been in the Northeast for a long time, and I miss, I love the warm weather. I'm a warm weather person, and I think it comes from where I, having been
Well,
grown up
I go
there?
to SoCal quite often. I have a family there, and it's one of my favorite places to go.
And where are they?
So I got family in Huntington Beach, Corona, California, Ontario. Like the mid area. It's not closest to the beach.
Yeah.
Riverside is some of my family.
Riverside?
And I don't have family there, but San Diego is it's my city. Like every time I go there, I connect with it. I don't know there's something about San Diego that makes me want to live there. Like, and then that's one of my goals is to eventually buy a place in San Diego.
Yeah. I think my brother, it's so funny. My brother lives in San Francisco, and he recently went and visited a childhood friend of his that they've known each other for, 60 years, whatever. And he went and visited him in San Diego, and he said the same. And he's a native Californian, but he was like, "Oh my God, I love San Diego." And because we grew up right near LA, we grew up like in the South Bay, south of Los Angeles. But it's so funny that you say that, because my brother just went there and was like, "Oh my God, I could live here."
Right.
And it's a great town.
Yeah, I was saying it's not as that hustle and bustle of LA. It has more of like a chill factor. Even though it is a business city, it's way more chill than LA.
Absolutely more chill than LA, because it's further south. It's, San Diego is a beach town.
Yeah.
LA is not a beach town. LA is too far inland, and it's all about, it's really got that downtown. It's much more of a traditional city than San Diego. Yeah. So, so you're a dad?
Yeah. I have
You've got an almost 13-year-old daughter?
son. I have a 13-year-old son.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
he's,
goodness. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's turning 13 in July, and come September, he's going to be in high school. And yeah, it went by so fast. It feels like yesterday I was still
Goes by so fast.
I was holding him in my arms, putting in the bottle, and now he's like in high school, and he's getting into football, and it's amazing how they grow up. How fast they can grow up.
It's crazy. And is he excited about high school? Is he a little nervous?
I asked him about it. He's like excited and nervous at the same time, knowing the fact that it's bigger. The high school is definitely bigger than elementary school, and he'll be meeting like more friends.
It's a big, I don't know what made me think of going to high school, my first day of high school recently, and it was all about the outfit. Do I have the right outfit? Which I think is probably a much more of a female thing, but maybe not. But yeah, and how nervous I was, and you're going to be the youngest. You go from being the oldest to being the youngest. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
So, and so does he like music? Is he a music kid?
Yeah, he has Spotify, and when he plays music, I was like, I love your playlist, because he plays, I guess growing up, he liked songs that I used to play, like he liked Snoop Dogg, like all that hip hop stuff. And when we're driving, I'm like, hey, you be the DJ, goes on Spotify, he plays his own playlist, and yeah, it's like crazy, because of Bohemian Rhapsody, he loves Queen, and like through movies and through just growing up with me, he knows like all the older stuff too. And I was like, good choice.
That's good.
Awesome choice.
Yeah. So you feel like your work is done. I'm a good father.
Yeah. Oh, there's
my son likes Snoop Dogg. I've done my job.
Yeah, but of course there's still more to go, because I still got the whole teenage years to go through.
You got the teenage years, and look, they're always your babies.
Yeah.
My kids are 27 and 25, and I still, I mean, they do dress themselves and clothe themselves. And,
I know.
I don't have to make them breakfast anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have a losing it story for me. Am I right?
Yeah, I do actually. It's the story that I do love to tell, and because in my heart I believe it inspires people, and I do want people to grow with it as I tell them.
Good. Well, I'm ready when you are.
So yeah, my losing story is like I almost lost my life. Is as the topic that is going on. And with that topic, I was diagnosed with a stage 3 brain tumor. And with that, I had to go through 6 weeks of first surgery to remove it. So I had open brain surgery. They removed the tumor, and then 6 weeks of chemo and radiation I had to go through after that. And I can tell you about chemotherapy. I did it, but I did not like it. It sucked.
Okay, let's slow down, because here's the question. How old were you when this happened?
I was 35 years old when I was first diagnosed.
And this was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
Yeah, 2015 is when I was
Okay.
diagnosed.
Okay, so 6 years ago, you have a 6-year-old son.
Yeah, around 6,
Right?
7 years old. Yeah.
And how did you know that something was wrong?
Yeah, I call it a blessing in disguise. So I had a seizure while I was driving. So I was driving, and then my cheek started just twitching vigorously. And I thought it was one of those muscle twitches you get here and there, but it just didn't stop. And it just kept on, and it started getting more like harsh. And I just remember taking a deep breath, and I just blacked out. And next thing you know, my car was like in some bushes in a neighborhood. And I was, then next thing you know, a paramedic like was waking me up. Sir, are you okay? I woke up with a pounding headache, and I was like, where am I? I don't know what happened.
Were you in the car by yourself?
Yes, I was in the car by myself. And the reason why I call it a blessing in disguise is that no one was hurt. Like, I had that question, what if my son was with me in the car? And the fact that the main kicker was, like, if I was at home and it happened, and if I woke up from it, I would have been like, nah, whatever. Like, I was too stubborn. I would have been too stubborn to go to the doctor.
Right. Yeah. So, but the paramedics wake you up, and your car has run into the bushes. Like you said, thankfully you didn't hit anybody. That's a miracle.
Exactly.
Right. And so you have this headache, and then what happens?
Then, they asked me all these questions as best as I could. And they're like, oh, you suffered a seizure. We might have to get your brain scanned. I went to the ER. The ER doctor asked me the same question. He goes, yeah, we need your head scanned. And because of that accident, they scanned my head and they found it.
Oh my God. So you go to ER, and right away they give you the head scan?
I was there sitting for a bit, and the ER doctor on shift asked me the same questions that paramedics did. And after that, you're like, yeah, let's get your head scanned. So within maybe half hour to an hour after the questions, they went and got me a CAT scan, and they found it.
So, oh my God. So you're just driving somewhere. Everything's normal. And then within like 3 hours, you find out. So the doctor comes out and says, you have a brain tumor?
Yeah. So after the scan, he said, like, you might want to brace yourself, but we did find a lesion in your brain. And then the next step is to get an MRI to find out exactly what it is. Then they found it, and they found out it was a brain tumor.
And what did you think? I mean, like, what goes through your brain when you're a young man with a 6 or 7 year old son, you're in the prime of your life, and suddenly somebody tells you have a lesion in your brain?
What did you think? My first reaction was victimhood. Like, why me? I remember crying. It's like, why is this happening? My life is so good right now. And why? And then, I was a practicing martial artist. I can't take any more hits to the head anymore because of the brain stuff. But because of my martial arts background and like my meditation, it took me like, you know what? I'm going to get through this. I have a son. I'm going to be a grandfather. I'm going to watch him graduate. So a key reason for me wanting to move forward was the love for my son. Like, I just couldn't, I had to be his father.
Yeah. So how long did you stay in that victim place? Like a matter of days, a matter of hours, a matter of weeks? How long did it take you to move out of that?
I would like to say within the hour. Like after I cried, after I just stopped, I was like, my boxing coach goes, don't feel sorry for yourself. Well, I just kept on hearing my boxing coach, because I remember physically, I was able to push myself physically to get to where I wanted to be while I was boxing. And I was like, physical and mentally, there's no difference. If I was able to push myself in boxing, I just knew in my heart I was able to do this on my own. And, I like to say I'm a fighter. That's how I was with boxing. And after I was like, you know what? Don't feel sorry for myself. My son, I want to be a really good example for my son. Even, luckily it didn't happen, knock on wood. Even if I didn't survive, at least my son would have saw me survive or fight. And with that, at least I would have been more happier him experiencing me fighting than just giving up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because one of the biggest thing we are for our children is we're examples, and we're,
exactly.
How do we show them, what we say is one thing, but what we do is the more powerful thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So you find out that you have a lesion in your brain, and then what? Like, how do you tell your family? How do you tell your son? did that go?
Yeah, no, I told them with courage. In the ER room, like my parents came, my sister came, and they're like, "You okay?" I told them like what the doctor told me. I remember my mom cried, and like my dad was like kind of just like not like very emotionless. My sister teared up, and I said, "Guys, do not worry about it. I got this."
Wow. In a couple of hours, you were like, "I got this."
Yeah, because like I looked up to mentors like George St. Pierre, like all these mixed martial artists. I studied them, and there you said everything is all mindset. And just, because I looked at them as mentors, which I've never met. I was like, well, what would George St. Pierre do? What would Anderson Silva do? Like, they would not feel sorry for themselves. They would just be like,
yeah. And there's a Bruce Lee quote on your blog, right?
Yeah.
What do you remember what that quote is?
It goes, "Do not pray God for an easy life. Pray for the courage to endure to be stronger." So in that I'm just paraphrasing, but.
Yeah, right. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray to endure the harder life,
exactly.
or the courage, which I think is so smart because, we grow through adversity.
Exactly.
We don't grow through, we grow when we have to grow, not necessarily just because we should or we can't or we need to. We grow when we have to. And this is a situation where you needed to grow.
Yeah, that's why I took this whole experience as a message from someone up there. I do believe on a higher being, whether it be God, Buddha, or whatever. Anyone can say who it is. I just call it the higher being. That's what it is. And I took all this as a lesson. Like, it's a lesson for me to do more.
So you find out you've got a lesion, and they say you're going to have surgery.
Yeah. So of course,
and was the surgery right away, or was
within 10 days?
Wow.
Within 10 days of finding out.
Wow. So you go in and you said, where'd they cut you?
Let's see if I could, hold on. I can't see my scar, but
yeah.
It's kind of like right there.
Yes. Wow.
So yeah, they cut open my brain.
And let me ask you, I heard this. Were you awake?
No. I told them, please put me asleep.
Because sometimes they keep you awake when it's brain surgery because they want to make sure, I don't know, that you can keep talking or whatever.
Yeah.
But you were like, no. I'd rather be asleep. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then they said that because of what was going on, they didn't need me to be awake because they just need to take it out. I think with that, they're saying, because I asked them, I'm like, do you need me to be awake during my consultation? They're like, oh no, because we're just going to be removing something. You can be put asleep. We only want you to wake if we need you to do some motor functions, as if like if they're touching something, like do you smell anything or whatever. But they didn't need. They didn't need that.
Do you know how big the lesion was? Not to be too graphic.
They said the size of a golf ball.
Oh God! Yeah. Wow. So they find out you have a lesion, but it's not just a lesion; it's cancer. Correct?
It was cancer.
Right. So they're like. Yeah, bad news number 1, you have a lesion. Bad news number 2, it's cancer.
Yeah, with that, I found out after. So they had to do a pathology test. So after
that makes sense.
So after I got brain surgery, they took it out. They had to do a pathology test. I had to wait a few more weeks, and that's when they told me it was stage 3.
Oh my God. It's always crazy to me that, because I feel like this happens all the time. You go in, they take they take it out of your breast, they take it out of your head, they take it and then it's like, the pathology test, it seems like, takes forever. So you've got, so I've been through brain surgery, but I'm waiting. I can't imagine how long those 3 weeks must feel like.
Oh, it was like, I didn't know.
Right?
I was hoping, at first I was being optimistic. I'm like, oh, they probably didn't get a hold of me because it's probably like benign and it's not that important. Because if it was really important, they would have gotten a hold of me by now. However, that's not the case. So they, weeks after, they go, yeah, we're sorry to inform you, but it is malignant. It is stage 3. So we highly recommend treatment.
And where were you when you got that? Is that the kind of thing where they called you when you got the news over the phone, or you had to go in? Where were you when you found out?
So yeah, during that time, I don't know why I did it, but I went back to work, to my 9 to 5, which is another story I'll tell you about. But I was at work and I got the call. And it was just, I don't know why I did it, but after I got the call, I was at work and I was at my desk and I cried again. And then I had to go into like my manager. I had to go in my manager's office and had to shut the door because it was all cubicles at that everything. And I just, After I cried, I told my
geez.
manager what was up, and he was sympathetic, and he's like, just let it out. And yeah.
Yeah, let's hope so. What's he going to go? Oh, buck up, buddy. All right, stage three brain cancer. Come on. We got to get these memos out. It's like, he better be nice.
Yeah, and
my goodness.
And then they said that the choice was entirely up to me to take the treatments. And then they gave me a day to figure it out because I just couldn't make an answer right then and there. I wanted to talk to my family, let them know what my options are, tell them what was, just lay it all on the table and let's just make the best decision with my loved ones. And yeah, after that, I made the decision just to do both. However, I had the mindset
radiation and chemo.
I said yes.
Yeah.
However, with the mindset, I was like, all right, I know my immune system is going to drop, but after that, it gives me a chance to rebuild my immune system to be even stronger. And that was the mindset going into chemo and radiation, be like, yeah, I'm going to be weak, but I'm going to take this opportunity to rebuild my immune system, be stronger than it was before. So during that time,
So where do you think, Jedrocks, that you got sort of this sort of never say die attitude? I mean, I know you said that you studied martial arts and you found these mentors, these martial artists through that, but what do you think drew you to martial arts and drew you to that type of philosophy? You know what I mean? Because where do you think that came from? Is that something that you got from your parents or that? So how do you think? What got you down that path?
I don't know. It's just something in me that burned. Like, for example, my parents are immigrants. And the whole, they raised me with the colonial mindset and the poor dad mentality about getting the job, getting your 9 to 5, getting that benefits. I did all that. I was in a sales job at the Vancouver Convention Center for audiovisual. And in their eyes, I made it. But I was miserable and I was so unhappy. And
right.
I was looking back, as I said, I went back to my 9 to 5 and I was miserable when I went back. I was like, I went through all this just to come back here. I'm so miserable. And it's that drive, knowing the fact that, I could have died. And on my tombstone, I didn't want to be I went back to my 9 to 5. I wanted to be I survived cancer and I want to tell the world, I want to inspire the world that even if you're diagnosed, you can do it too. It's just, I don't know where it came from. It just, like I said, it's probably me, someone from the higher being telling me that I'm meant for something else.
It's interesting how you formed this relationship with a higher being, and you formed this very strong philosophy. I really liked that. Do you think you got it from your parents? And you kind of chuckled and said no, and and like you said, because them being first generation and having this sort of colonial mindset of because we talked about this, Ronnie, we do therapy Thursday, and we had, two other, one woman who's Korean but grew up in the Philippines, another guy who's Filipino and grew up in the Philippines, and they're both first generation, from immigrant parents. So there is that mindset, and not to say that it doesn't happen, in certainly I grew up here and my mom grew up here and her parents grew up here and their parents. I mean, I've been in the U.S. My family's been in the U.S. for a long time, but it's not that mentality of being successful, being financially successful is the most important thing. Having that 9 to 5 job, having that security is the most important thing. And your happiness it's not even necessarily on the list. It's not necessarily even on the table. So,
exactly.
So I think it's just fascinating that something in you. So do you think if you hadn't been diagnosed with brain cancer that you'd still be at that 9 to 5 job?
Honestly, I think I probably would have been.
Wow.
Or if not, getting to my point now would have been taken longer. Taken way more. Yeah. I think eventually I would have, but because of this whole experience, I was like, I got to do it now.
Right. What am I waiting for? Right?
Exactly.
So you're back at your 9 to 5 job. You have a day to decide about the chemo and or the chemo and the radiation. And then you go back and you say, okay, right?
Yeah.
You say, I'm going to do it. So what was the chemo and the radiation like?
Okay, so yeah, the radiation was nothing. It's just like going for an X-ray, but it was the chemo that was just really bad. Like I just remember just feeling really nauseous, and just the throwing up. Like I always joke around with my friends, like there's the drunk throwing up, and then there's like chemo throwing up. Because when you're drunk, you're kind of numb. So when you throw up when you're drunk, you don't feel anything. But here, just being like in present and just throwing up, your body tenses. You're tearing up, and it's just, I just feel bad just talking about it.
And how many weeks of chemo did you have to do?
I had to do 6 weeks every day, Monday to Friday for 6 weeks.
Oh my God. I recoiled like that because my best friend had breast cancer, and she had to do, I think it might have been 12 weeks. It was a lot of weeks, but it was once a week. Might have been twice a week, but I think it was only once a week. And she would have it on, let's say she would have it on a Monday. She would start to feel bad on Tuesday, and Wednesday she'd feel worse. And then by Thursday she was like, I would say, how are you doing? She'd say, well, aside from feeling dead inside and this metallic taste in my mouth that I can't get, and the fact that all my fingernails have turned black. I mean, and she was getting it once a week. So you got it 5 times a week. Yeah.
It was actually it was the oral chemo that I had to take, but still, you still get the same outcomes from like as if you're going to get it injected in you.
Yeah. So did you while you were doing the 6 weeks of chemo, were you working?
No, I definitely took the time off. And again, during that time off, like I didn't sit and feel sorry for myself. Like I would go for walks. I had a resistant band. I was just like, I will not let this beat me. I will not let this beat me. And I just thought about the future. I kept on visualizing my kid graduating. I visualized myself being a grandfather. And yeah, it's just something that I just did not want to lose. I guess that's a stubborn thing. I hate losing.
Well, you hate losing, but also you're tenacious and you're persistent, and I can go negative or I can go positive. And you went positive. So many of those things are a choice. We don't necessarily realize that they are. And I don't want to minimize anybody's pain or anybody's challenges. But, it is that thing of like, I joke often that if something serious happened to me, like losing my legs, in a horrible accident, I always joke that I'm not sure that I would be the person to write to be the inspirational one. I don't know if I would be. But the fact that when we're faced with a huge challenge, physical challenge, personal challenge, or even emotional challenge, we do have a lot of power. Like you said, that visualizing is so powerful.
I stand by it.
And you made a decision. And so you're doing the chemo 5 times a week, you're throwing up, but you're walking, and you've got those resistance bands.
Yeah.
And how did your family react? How did your son react? How did it land on the people around you that love you?
Yeah, it looked like, to me, like I said, my parents are immigrants, so they're kind of like emotionless, but I can just tell that through the way I know them, they're proud of me. And the fact that my kid saw me, because currently he lives with his mom, and the excitement he would to see me and just to do stuff together and telling him about what I was going through. And yeah, it was just very inspiring. And I want my kid to know that when he grows up, he can fight too. Or not fight, but if there's any struggle, you can get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. And then my sister and my cousins from the Philippines and in the US, they're all like, oh, you're a fighter. Like, we've known you since a kid. You've always been a fighter, texting me and stuff. So just the inspiration between like all my loved ones through everything. And yeah, I have to admit, like the inspiration from the cousins my age saying that you're a fighter and everything, we look up to you, that helped inspire me as well.
That's fantastic. So 6 weeks of chemo, 5 days a week, a lot of throwing up, a lot of hikes, a lot of resistance. How depleted were you? Did you lose a lot of weight? Did you look?
I looked a lot skinny.
How much did it ravage you?
Not as much as I thought it would have, just because I was prepared to do what I need to do to get through with this as easily as possible. Because I do remember when I was waiting my turn for my radiation, there was a couple of people ahead of me. I was just, eavesdropping in what their conversation, and they were just being so pessimistic. And I was like, I can't be like these guys. He's like, oh, my appetite, and it just, the energy, the vibration is just like, okay, I can't vibe with these guys. And yeah, and it just turned me off to be like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to beat this.
Yeah. Fantastic. And when you went into it, because they took the tumor out, the golf ball size tumor out, but it was stage 3. So like in theory, and they asked you, do you want to do chemo and radiation? So in theory, there was a chance that just the operation had gotten all the cancer. But in case it hadn't, they've got to go. That's what the chemo and the radiation is about, correct? And
they're saying that there are cells that they can't see on an MRI because it was stage 3, that it had a higher chance of it growing back.
Right. And did you have a prognosis? Did they say, look, if you don't do radiation and chemo, your prognosis is this, but if you do, your prognosis is that? Did you have any like percentages or anything?
Yeah, so I remember because of the whole corporate thing about benefits, I had to fill out insurance papers. Yeah. I had to give it to my oncologist, and I guess it was a good thing that I read it, and it went 35% survival rate in 5 years. And that was 6 years ago.
Woohoo!
I moved the needle.
Honey, I got chills. You hear, you did it. You fucking did it.
It's on my blog. I took a screenshot of what it said on the insurance paper. And when I saw that, right away, you know what I said to myself? I'm going to make it 35%.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And I said I was going to move the needle.
And you did. Wow. And where can they find your blog? Just remind me, because I was looking at it today.
So it's www.jedrocks.me.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so, oh man. Oh God, what a good So you go through this, how old were you, 30, 36?
Yeah, around 36 at the time.
So you're 36, you're this young, awesome guy doing a 9-to-5 job that you don't like. So for that, but you're a martial artist, you're, like a thriving person, you go through this, and it sounds like you survived the chemo and radiation pretty well.
Yeah.
So were your doctors a little like, what the heck? Were they?
Yeah. I remember when I first, so I had to do like quarterly checkups. So I remember after 3 months after my last therapy, they asked like, how are you doing? And I was like, I started exercising again, full, kind of like maybe 80% full throttle. And I told my oncologist that, and then I remember his eyes going, wow.
Yeah.
So, and then that was kind of what I wanted them. I'll be like, you know what, docs? I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And so how long till you sort of felt back to normal?
Not long. I can't pinpoint exactly. So yeah, after the 6 weeks, I had to take 6 weeks off, then 5 days of chemo again, then 6 weeks off, then 5 days. And that was a span of 4 months. And that chemo session, it did feel gross. But after that last session, I just felt like back to normal. Like with my mindset, I just said to myself, I'm back to normal. Wow.
And did you do anything specific? Because you were talking about building your immune system back up. Did you do anything specific about that? Like how you ate or what specific? Go ahead.
So I started like doing the juicing. Like I had a Jack LaLanne juicer, and I started like juicing kale, like all these organic fruits, clean meats, like, make sure it's organic. And just make sure that I just ate really clean food. Yeah.
You're not like having nachos, you're not having a lot of cheese, you're not eating Cheetos. You're eating
exactly.
clean
However,
food.
in moderation, because sometimes it does make you happy, and why not, right? Why not? Like a cheeseburger makes me happy. It's not like I'll eat it every day.
Yeah.
But if you eat a cheeseburger, don't say it's bad for you. Love it. You know what I mean? It makes you happy.
Well, I'm vegan, so I don't eat cheeseburgers.
Oh, okay.
but to each his own. And but no, I think that's fantastic. Okay. So you got the 6 weeks, then you got 4 weeks off, and then a week, and then 4 weeks off, and then a week, and you're back and you're eating clean and you're juicing and you got kale. What happens to the 9-to-5 job?
So again, I went back to like my 9-to-5 at the Vancouver Convention Center, and I was sitting there. I'm like, I don't like this. I do not like this, and I just because it's something I wrote on my blog. Like I never really trusted my gut, and before cancer, I always pushed that feeling down. But this time, I'm like, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to trust my gut, and I just made a decision that I got to leave this. I got to leave this job. Like it's not fulfilling. It. When I wake up, I'm miserable. Like I just have no excitement to want to be there.
Yeah.
So and then I took that, Steve Harvey goes, you got to take that leap of faith. And I was like, I'm going to take my leap. And I quit my 9-to-5. I took an acting course just because why not? I want to do some acting.
Fantastic. Well, wait a minute. I got to know, how did mom and dad take you leaving your 9-to-5?
At first, I could tell they weren't happy, but at the time, like I'm 36, so I get to make my own decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that mom and dad.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it might not land on you, or you know what I mean. Yes, you do what you want to do. I'm just, look, you're going your own way and you're changing the paradigm. You're changing sort of the rules in your, I would venture to say, in your culture. And would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
so that there's going to be pushback. And also, and you tell me if I'm overstepping or stating something that's incorrect. I think in the Asian culture, honoring your parents is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
So
it is.
That's a big thing that you did that. It's not a little thing.
Yeah, no, it was a big thing. And I just told them, like, I got to do this. Like, I would regret not trying than not trying at all. Yeah. So at least I had to try and reach for what I wanted to do. And with me knowing the fact that I tried, is more fulfilling the fact that just sitting there and imagining what would have happened.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you left your 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And did you know where you were going to go or what you were going to do?
Yeah, I took an acting program. And coincidentally enough, one of my classmates in my acting program, he was a venture capitalist and he was looking for some cold callers. And I hated cold calling, but in my mind, I was like, you know what? I got to do something I don't like. And why not training to be a cold caller? Because I'm not, 80% of people out there hate cold calling. And I'll be like, you know what? I want to be part of the smaller percent. So even though I did take a pay cut, it was a skill that I really wanted to learn because I knew I was like, if I learn how to cold call, I'll be levels ahead of the people who don't want to cold call. And
because I would rather have a kidney removed than cold call. I mean, it's so hard. It is. Like, it is. Really. It is. Like if like cold calling was what I had to do to eat, I don't know if I could do it. It's so hard.
It is.
Right? So I'm humbled. I'm completely it was like, okay, Nelsie, in order to pay your rent, you're going to have to make 25 cold calls today or this week.
Exactly.
I go, I don't know. Maybe I'll live in a tent. I don't know. It's so hard because it's rejection.
And,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And with that, you build thicker skin. And I sort of knew that getting into it. I remember my first call, I'm like, my heart's like pounding. I'm like, do you want to check out the stock? It was like, oh man. Then I remember watching The Pursuit of Happiness and The Wolf of Wall Street. And I just kind of got inspired by watching that to know that I will eventually get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And now it's like me pick up the phone. Hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Like I'm so confident on the phone and I no regrets learning that skill.
Absolutely. So here, fast forward 6 years, you beat the odds, you're healthy, you have your own, clothing company.
Yeah.
When did you start that?
So it was actually, I started back in 2012 just for a side, like a small side hustle, nothing to really grow that big. I first made designs of the Filipino and Canadian culture and just blended them. And I gave it to presents for my close circle of friends. After that, they wore it, and then their friends are like, "Oh, hey, where'd you get that shirt?" And they're like, "Oh, my buddy made it for me for Christmas." And they're like, "Oh, one of my friends wants to buy that shirt." And I was like, "You know what? I got nothing to lose." So I just started slowly. And then later on in life, it just started snowballing, and then I started traveling more. And every time I traveled, people are like, "Oh, are you?" They kept on calling me Filipino American because it's the way I talk. Like, no, I'm actually from Canada. We're a little bit different from our American cousins. That like, my accent isn't more like, "Hey, Jesus Christ, already." Like, I don't say a lot, and but yeah, just the fact that I want to represent Filipinos up north here, and knowing that we're a little different.
It's very cool. And what's the name of that company?
It's called Philcan Clothing.
Yeah, it's very cool. And the logo is very cool.
Yeah, and
right?
I'm here to represent Filipino culture up here in Canada.
God, very, very cool. So, so getting cancer changed you profoundly.
Oh, yeah.
Would you say that's true?
It is. It's a total blessing in disguise. Like, if it wasn't like, I'm going to put this out there. I'm working on a book, and it's called Thank You Cancer.
Oh, what a good title.
Yeah.
That's a good title. Well, I'm a writing coach and a writer.
Oh, are you?
Just saying. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do beyond
definitely,
podcasting.
I'll be definitely linking with you after this.
Yeah, good. I wrote a novel that got published anyway, I don't have to do my resume.
No, yeah.
Yes, I'm and I happen to be very good at it. But that is a great title. Thank You Cancer is really good. And so it changed. Tell me all the things about it, all the ways in which it changed you.
Oh, definitely. Like, of course, my outlook in life. Like, you only have that one life, and knowing the fact that I could have died, I wake up knowing the fact that I got to live my day to the fullest. I got to take those risks. I got to try. I got to attempt it. And all these quotes like, mistakes aren't failures. They're learning opportunities. And I come with that mindset. I still do get scared. Like, the fear is always going to be there. It's how you control the fear is what makes it. And the decision making and mindset. Like, I can't get rid of that fear no matter how hard I try. So it helps me control my fear, and it helps me make the decision that I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it changed your look on life, your mindset. It changed what you do for a living.
Yeah.
Right? So like, here you are, you have a clothing company, you have a blog, you co-own a DJ school. You're an entrepreneur. You said goodbye to this 9-to-5 job that you hate, and you get to be this shining example to your son of like finding your bliss and following your bliss, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, and then what I'm teaching him now is that, like, hey, you don't need a 9-to-5 the job. You need to learn how to invest. So I'm teaching him about investing and everything instead of me telling him about the 9-to-5 and benefits. I'm teaching like, owning a business, creating a business, investing is the way to go. Being creative.
Wow. So look, you help me with investing, I'll help you with writing, because I don't know anything about that. Nothing. Zippity doo dah.
Deal.
So, wow, that is such a great story. I feel like I had one more thing I wanted to say or wanted to ask about mindset and Nelsie. You're going to have to cut all this out, Ronnie, as I'm sitting here trying to remember. It was, I feel like it was important. Yeah, I can't remember. So as you know, well, first of all, fantastic. It's so great to talk to you and to hear your story and to learn about, this profound change that you went from, self-pity, why me, which lasted about like a minute and a half. And then, and how you really changed your mindset. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So, you were talking about the fear, right? And you can't get rid of the fear. I don't think you need to, you're so good at talking about visualizing and talking about vibrating, right? And I don't know if this is right or not or annoying, but what if you just were able to go, oh, well, there's that fear again, and sort of made friends with the fear versus versus like feeling like it's something you have to get rid of. What if it's sort of like, oh, well, that makes sense that I would have that fear because I had stage 3 cancer. And hi, fear.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to see you, but I'm okay today.
No, so that's what I meant. Yeah.
Right?
So not like you're controlling it. That's what I meant about like not pushing away. So I miscommunication. Like, so the fear's there. I can't get rid of it, but I learned how to control with it, how to be one with it, how to accept it.
Be one with it. Yeah.
Surrender
accept
to it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And the reason I say that to you is because I know, look, I never had cancer, but I have a fear response that happens in me a lot because I grew up with trauma. And sometimes when that fear comes, I'm like, oh no, there's the fear, right? Like I get scared and then I get scared that I'm scared versus like, so that's part of the reason that I personally glommed onto that because, I let I get scared and then I get scared that I'm scared.
Yeah, and then it becomes a whole rabbit hole of like going down, right?
Right. That whole rabbit hole.
So the control.
Right. So anyway, Ronnie said you had a great story and it was so delightful to have you on.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me tell it.
Check out his blog, check out his clothing line, and we'll have all that. That'll all be in, down below in the comments on YouTube. But I don't think Ronnie told you, but we end with 3 questions. So here, I will give them to you one at a time. The first question is there something that you hope to lose in the next year?
Is there something? This is going to be kind of a trick question. I hope to lose more of my older self in the next year. Because I still haven't fully, I'm still in the process of changing and you're always going to change. And there's a little bit of my old self that's in me. That's probably the tail end. So I'm planning on losing that and getting rid of my older self.
Oof. Love that. Love that. And question number 2, is there something that you hope to gain in the next year?
To be, what I want to gain is I want to become a motivational speaker. And I'm hoping to gain more interviews with people like yourself, stand in front of a stage, tell them my story, and inspire people to do more than what they're told to do. We all have a choice, and it's all up to us to make those choices.
Yes, do more than what you're told to do. We all have a choice, and it's up to us to make those choices. That's a good quote. Write that down. Put that on your blog. And our last question is there something you hope you never lose?
I hope never lose my creativity. Never. Whatever the energy that comes down to me will be created in my mind and it'll be pushed out towards to the world. And I'm never going to lose whatever's in here.
Fantastic. Never. Jedrocks,
thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you. Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. Thank you. So he was adorable.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a story.
Oh, man, I couldn't imagine.
No.
Couldn't imagine going through that.
Right?
Yeah.
See, my fear is if that I just would not be that positive person. Do you know what I mean? That I would be, why me? That it would last a little longer than 10 minutes. The why me part.
Yeah, it was a courageous approach. You know what I mean?
So courageous.
It's so fast.
I know.
You turn around.
So amazing. And he's made it past the 5 years.
Yes.
And I love that he showed us his scar. I don't know how if that shows up, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they have to drill into your skull.
Oh my God. I can't even.
Okay, we'll move on from that. We'll move on from that. We will move on from that.
Well, guys, check out the Ron the World podcast because that's how I know him. He's on that podcast. He's the DJ. So he's literally on the podcast. He sits behind the DJ booth and stands there the whole episode, and you can play noises and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's so awesome. Yeah. DJ, clothing designer, and on and on.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I feel like I'm a little lazy. Now I feel a little lazy next to him. And thank you, Cancer. It's a really good title.
That is a good one.
We want to make sure that it hasn't been used, but it's a really good title. Yeah. So we have a fan letter from last week, right?
Yes. And last week we had your brother,
Cardi. Talking about Talking about so many things.
Yeah, you say that. Yeah, you say what he did.
Talking about letting go of sort of old ideas of himself and letting go of his outer shell, I think was one of the things that he said, right?
Yes.
So we got this fan letter, and let's see what they have to say. Okay. Let us see. Dear Nelsie, coming out of my shell and learning to live my life properly was a struggle, but I have since learned a new technique that helps me live through some embarrassing things in my past and helps me live without regret. Wow. I got to hear this one. Whenever I get unpleasant / cringe memories, oh boy, I start to imagine tiny janitors, tiny janitor people in my head using a vacuum to suck out and empty the memories. And it works. Wow. I love that. They're just in there, just cleaning out the stuff.
It's like Inside Out.
Nope. Like literal tiny maintenance versions of myself would suck up these memories with a vacuum and then empty it out into this garbage chute in my head. Wow. And I swear it works. Well, for a while, LOL. But the shitty memory just goes away instantly, and I can return to it. And I can return to whatever I was doing most of the time, just trying to sleep. Oh, so that's interesting. So trying to sleep and these memories that are unpleasant or cringe, like you've done something you feel bad about.
Yeah.
Okay, bring on the janitorial staff so now I can sleep. You know, it reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where there were tiny little SpongeBobs running around in his head, and they all had cubicles and computers and fax machines and such. That's very funny. But and speaking of which, I just watched Inside Out, which I'd never seen before.
I literally just mentioned that like a second ago.
That Pixar movie.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and so Doug and I watched it. It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
So smart, and talk about people running around in your head. So, but try it. Next time your brain decides to play an unpleasant memory, imagine in your head tiny versions of you are going, listen up. We got another one. Let's go. Get the vacuums out. I love this person. This is a bad one, folks. This one is about a girl.
Ooh.
And then imagine these little worker versions of you in your head, sort of sucking this memory, which would be in the shape of just a photograph, I think, into this vacuum. And then they empty it out into this waste disposal bin in your head. Do it again and again until your brain stops playing these thoughts and memories. Wow. And that is from Edgar C. Wow. Edgar C. A, it sounds like it works. B, it sounds really smart. And C, I would say it's a movie, but Pixar already did it.
Already did. Yeah. And even, what was that other movie? Osmosis Jones. Do you know that movie?
I don't know that.
You don't know that movie?
No.
Oh, it's pretty old. It's like early 2000s with Bill Murray. And like the inside of his body is a cartoon. And like
oh my God.
It's a great movie actually. Cause like Chris Rock is like he's like whatever the cell that fights, right? White blood cell or something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
And then
white blood cells, I think.
Bill Murray like eats some dirty stuff and then he takes a Advil, I think it was, or ibuprofen, Advil. And then he's like a superhero. The pill is like a superhero in the thing.
Coming to the rescue.
Yeah, he's like a detective superhero type dude. And they partner up, right? To fight the disease, the crime of the disease. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I love it. And also it reminds me of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is that Jim Carrey movie.
Intense, that one.
It's more intense, but what the concept is, you go somewhere because you're heartbroken and you want to forget this person, and they sweep out the memories of that relationship.
That is, honestly,
they get rid
that is a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, that was super good.
It's really smart and really beautifully done.
Yeah.
And I think it's Charlie Kaufman, who was a brilliant filmmaker. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Edgar C., you hit on some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Visualizing is a great technique and tool, you know.
But I love it's like, come on, you guys, let's go, let's
Yeah, I
go.
mean, that makes it more
Get
fun.
out of here. This is a bad one. It's about a girl.
We need the heavy Dysons for this one.
We need the industrial strength.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that industrial strength back out. Oh my God, that is really funny. Well, and if it helped, Edgar see, get out of his shell, I only say bravo, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Whatever
Which is also
works.
a great
Whatever
movie.
works.
That's also a great movie.
What's
That's
that? Whatever
yeah, it's a
works?
Woody Allen movie. It's a more recent Woody Allen movie with Larry David. It's pretty good.
It's hard to do the more recent ones because I feel like since everything came out,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Well,
Although
it's not super
I saw Blue
recent.
Jasmine.
It
I
was
have to
before
admit
Blue
it.
Jasmine.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was. All right. So I'm just a big fat hypocrite that I saw that movie.
Blue Jasmine
Really?
was an
I am.
interesting movie. I love that Louis C.K.'s whole part in that was just to ruin this woman's life for a second.
Yeah.
And then,
Absolutely.
leave. Yeah.
And then leave. What was I going to say? So what do we do for next week? Okay, guys. So, Jedrocks had a hell of a story about surviving brain cancer, getting, thank you cancer. He got cancer. It changed his life in all these positive ways. So maybe something that negative happening that ultimately in the long run was positive. If you've got a story like that.
I think Ronnie's
we did that. Thinking. We did. All right. Well, if you had brain cancer, write into us. I mean, wow.
Yeah, no. It's the more we do this, the more abstract.
The more difficult it gets, right?
But I think we can go on the surface and be like, what person, or let's say you're going through something hard, and when a person has inspired you to go further, how we was talking about those martial arts guys.
Right.
And that it seemed like that was a big part of his fight. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a really good one. So who inspired you and helped you get through a really hard time? It could be somebody a grandmother, a sister, a brother, whatever. Or it could be, some
Cardi B,
public figure. Yeah. Cardi B. It could be Cardi B who helped you get through it.
Could be Snoop Dogg.
Right? So let us know what or who really helped you through a hard time. That's a good one. That. Yeah. All right. Good one, Ronnie. Good one. So thank you for listening. You can follow us on Instagram at Losing It Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter and on TikTok in the same fashion. Please, wherever you're listening, whether it's on Apple or Spotify, please rate, review, and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe. But we'd love it too if you rated and reviewed. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell the people that you're indifferent to how good we are, how funny we are. You can contact us at losingitcontact@gmail.com to tell us why you love us or why you hate us. And if you have a good Losing It story, right? And you can comment below. And you please subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube as well. And you can also comment. I just said that, didn't I? God. I was doing good, wasn't I, Ronnie? I thought I was going to end this one strong.
Every week's a rehearsal. It's like a one-woman show.
Every week's a rehearsal. Yeah. No, we're never going live. I can't do it.
That's good. You covered it all.
Ronnie, I did. I covered it all. We're done. And did I tell you I was going to the Adirondacks?
Yes. Yes. Is that like Spider-Man's laboratory?
Oh, we didn't recreate that well. Yeah. That
came out of nowhere. I thought you were about to end the episode.
I'm going to Spider-Man's laboratory. Yeah. And when I get back, I'm going to have Spidey powers. Choo, 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 choo. Yeah, okay. We're done. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, Ronnie.
You have to say the thing that makes the episode end.
Oh my God.
The episode cannot end.
You should just fire me. You just fire me. All right. Please, I beg of you, don't poop in the ocean.
A weekly reminder.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it.
Okay.
Losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer. Produced by me, Ronnie Whaley. Theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.